There are some decks that are very powerful at the moment, before Dooms of Dimensions, but I believe that can be very powerful after the release of Dooms of Dimensions. And I just wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about like some of these decks that I think could be very powerful and stuff that could be like useful going into the next format. The first deck I'd like to talk about is Regenesis. Now, Regenesis has a bunch of different iterations. My main focus is probably just I know my friend has like Cashier Bestial Regenesis, that's fine. He's also thinking about throwing a Dogmatica. Like, there is a monster that is in Dooms of Dimensions that is a Dogmatica card, and from what I've seen and what I've read for its effects, I can't remember its effects off the top of my head, but it is probably one of the stronger effects. Now, granted, it's a secret rare, so it's going to be hard for him to get, but there's that, and then there's Constellar Pleiades Omega 7, which basically is a dark hole, but bounces the entire board back, which is broken. Especially knowing the fact that Regenesis can run a Cashier engine and half of the Regenesis cards are level 7. This just creates like this is big for Regenesis in my opinion, simply because there is a lot more interaction with your opponent now, and Regenesis is already in a strong state. So there's that. Another deck I'd like to bring up is probably Yugioh. So for those who don't know what Yugioh, it's basically a stop hitting yourself like you have like a blues hit holding your arm and punching yourself with your own arm. It's dumb. But Yugioh, in a nutshell, that's what Yugioh does. But Yugioh also has a lot of floating effects to which, if they are destroyed by battle, or not by battle, by card effect, they get to summon another Yugioh, or Yugioh Terror Incarnate. And this is kind of broken, especially knowing the fact that you have decks like Draco Tail that will like take out a couple monsters, and then bam, you have 3 more new monsters. Like, it's crazy. And you also have Phantom of Yugioh. Now, there's a lot more turn 0 interactions, but the sooner you can get out Phantom, the better your odds are. So, yes, Phantom's at 1. If Phantom was at 2, I feel like we'd be in a better spot. That Yugioh would be in a better spot. But just knowing where everything's at the moment, because Yugioh also has Summon Sorceress, and I forgot to include this in my Yugioh deck list, but Unchained Soul of Anguish is still a thing. So for those who don't know about Unchained Soul of Anguish, you can go Rage, take your opponent's special summon monster plus the Rage. That's a rank 2 plus 1, rank 3 Anguish. And an Anguish will do the same thing with your opponent's monster, and it doesn't have to be special summon, and then you could just go into SP. And then SP just removes a card on the field. So that's 3 ways of removal off of just a link 2. And that is completely crazy off of just one monster. Plus you have the rest of the interactions with Yugioh being like Nightmare Pain, where your opponent is forced to attack your Yugioh. You have Mature Chronicle that will count up your counters anytime a new Yugioh is summoned. There's Eternal Favorite, which will get you the Super Polyfusion monster of Yugioh the Loving Defender and then deal a crap ton of burn damage. There's a lot of different ways that Yugioh can prosper in this format. Now, I know everyone is aware of Yummy and K9's getting 2 new cards. Yummy's getting a new card. 2 new cards, actually. And it's gonna be kind of tough to kind of think about, especially when I don't know. Like, K9 is already a strong enough engine, and I feel like once this new round of support comes in, a lot more people are going to have a chance to play it pure, since Vanquish Soul got hit, Christian got hit, kind of. and it just gives a lot more flexibility to the K9 engine. Draco Tail, I think Draco Tail might be getting support. I don't know, but going into Dooms of Dimension, I think that a lot of people are trying to prepare, or not many people are trying to prepare for it. But I don't know. The U-Bell, I mentioned U-Bell, I mentioned Regenesis. What else is there? The third deck I want to actually talk about is probably something that like people might be aware of, but don't think it's very good. I think it's very good. Primite Blue Eyes. Now, if you don't know what Blue Eyes is, you're living under a rock. Everyone knows what Blue Eyes is. Everyone knows Blue Eyes White Dragon. But there are some cards in Primite Blue Eyes that just stop the game. There is Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, the first line of text, which not many people pay attention to. You can't special summon more than 2 monsters at a time. That stops the entire Yummy combo. Because a lot of the Yummy synchros summon 2 at a time from grave and stuff, which is awesome. There's also Primite Dragon Ether Barrel, which, I mean, I guess Primite Blue Eyes is the direct counter to Yummy. Because Ether Barrel, you take whenever, not Ether Barrel, the big dragon, whenever it's summoned, you banish monsters on the field with the same attribute as a normal monster in graveyard. Normal monster is Blue Eyes, Light Dragon, Light Beast. That just nukes Yummy, and even if Yummy tags out, it's still going to get rid of the board. So Primite Blue Eyes is a direct counter to Yummy. I believe that against Draco Tail, it has some synergies. I don't know what it is. I'd have to look. Like the only reason why I'm aware of this is because of Syriax, who got like 7th in the regional not too long ago playing Primite Blue Eyes. And there's a lot of different things that could happen. There's Lunalights, which I think no one knows how to really counter. I think I figured something out, which I'll explain in my next video. But with everything going on in the format and all these new changes coming up, and then you also have Dooms of Dimension, people are trying to like scramble for what is the top deck. And I feel like that's just a very good feeling at the moment, because there isn't really a best deck. There's no real meta slaves. There is like balance kind of. And like people are actually being more flexible, and it's just a better spot for Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. And by the way, all these decks are mostly budget. Primite's probably the only expensive thing for, like the Primite engine is probably the only expensive thing for Blue Eyes. Phantom of U-Bell is probably the only expensive thing for U-Bell. And then in Dooms of Dimension, I feel like the Dogmatica monster is going to be the only expensive thing that's in Regenesis. All these 3 decks are very powerful budget decks, which I really like because I'm broke. I'm not like, I don't know how else to put it, but there are different, like playing budget rogue decks is probably my favorite thing, because like it just shows how like you can do performing well with any deck that you have. Like I used to play 10 Pi with only 1 Pydra because I couldn't afford 2 more because they were $10 at the time for a super rare, which was crazy. But as time progresses, the format's gonna like shape into what it was last format. But now it's okay, I don't know where I was going with that. With that being said, thank you for watching this video. If you want more content like this, let me know in the comments, like and subscribe. You don't have to. Just let me know that you like what I'm doing here. I just like sharing what I have with you guys. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.